Christmas and welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton, your new music Santa Claus for today, and we have our December recap episode, which means y'all hear clips from interviews with Hampus and Ludvig from Thermality, Myke from Volumes, RUNE, Shawna from More on Women, and Xavier and Vincent from Second Harbour. If you go over to our YouTube page, there is a full video episode of my conversation with Xavier and Vincent, the first for the podcast. So if you haven't checked out the Second Harbour interview yet and like full video podcast, go check that out. I know for me, sometimes I grew up listening to radio. I listen to a lot of podcasts. And sometimes once you see a face with a voice, it changes your perception. I've listened to so many podcasts where I have an image of a person in my head, and then you see their picture and you're like, that's not what I expected, and it ruins things for you. But if you like video podcast, go check that out on the YouTube page. You can comment on that video. Let me know if you want more in the new year, or you can send me an email at asthestorygrows@gmail.com. Thank you so much for checking out this recap episode. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. Thanks so much for spending Christmas Eve with me. Or if you're listening to this after Christmas, thanks for just checking out this episode. You can find links in our show notes or at asthestorygrows.com for our mailing list. Last Friday, my favorite EPs of the year list went out on the mailing list. And this coming Friday, my top 50 albums of the year will be out on the mailing list. So sign up for our mailing list on Substack. You can also find links to our Discord server and our Patreon page, where $1 a month will get you early access to every episode. Patreon members also got my top 100 favorite albums of the year, and not just the 50, as well as After Dark episodes where I recap a bunch of how I was feeling about the podcast and the past year and what I'm looking forward to in the future. So find all of that in the show notes or at asthestorygrows.com. Enjoy today's recap of all the episodes that aired in the month of December. Well, you guys met in high school, but how did all the members of the band meet? And at what point were you like, okay, we should start a band?
So we met like the first day of high school. We got put in the same group, me, Hampus, Walter, and one more guy. His name was Mons. Us four were the founding members of Thermality, if you can say that.
Yeah.
And we played thrash metal like 98% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and slam metal.
Yes. And then when we started the second year of school, we met Noel. And there was also like an open house for the school where younger kids that were going to start high school could visit. And we met Ture there. Kind of recruited him early because we needed a bassist.
Yeah.
And he was incredible, so he didn't have much of a choice.
Nice. What led from that transition from like thrash or slam into, more of a, I don't know, traditional Gothenburg sound, or like into that melodic death metal?
When we started out, it was already pretty melodic.
Okay.
Even if it was thrash, it was a lot of melodies in it. And we went around like on the streets shouting and trying to learn how to scream.
Yeah.
And then I learned false chord that way. So if you pair the melodies with the growl, it kind of naturally progresses into melodic death metal.
Yeah. One of the things Michael said to me when we talked when Happier was released was, part of that was the pandemic in there, but kind of the unfortunate nature of having this big gap between records. But Happier came out in 2021. We're here in 2025.
Hey man, you know what it is.
Yeah. What led to that kind of delay and just the process of getting new music out?
It's us. It's the band. It's nobody else to blame but us, dog. It's just us, man. All of us are psychos, dog. It's just crazy. I don't know, man. It takes way too long.
Yeah.
Everyone's so passionate about the band that we get so fired up and we all want the same thing and we all forget that, and then it just turns into a calamity. Yeah. So life, the long and short of it is life. It happens. Yeah. And just we just get to a point where like schedules conflict, because we were working with Daniel and he was super busy because he had other bands, and he was doing Spirit Box and Dayseeker and all the other bands he's working with. So it was kind of like trying to get the time in and get in the studio and get the momentum going. And it's like it was just really difficult for us to pull it off, man. I mean, in a perfect world, I would hopefully never have to do it, record like that again. Because it's strenuous and it's not far. I'm very, very proud of. If it wasn't for how good the album was, I would be like, this is fucking insane. Like, for some reason, we're like organized chaos and it works. Yeah. I don't know. It's the process. It's always been this way ever since I've been in the band. It's been crazy, but we always come through. So I don't know. I just
you think it's over, and then it's like magic happens, and it's like, all right, let's do it again.
It's like I ain't hear no damn bell. It's all beat up and bruised, and it's like So I don't know.
It's like childbirth, right? You forget how painful it is, and then you're just like, yeah, we'll do it again. Right?
Yeah, let's do this again and over and over and over again. I forgot how painful of a process this is.
Yeah,
but I mean, I guess it's good because we get good art out of it, and the full expression gets to come out, and so it works.
Yeah,
it works. Yeah. It's our formula. I would not suggest working like this with anyone else. To anyone else.
Yeah,
but for us, it works.
Feeling every inch of your body, yeah. I know that you are tired and you're sorry. Taking excuses you're thrown at the floor. Turning my back face away from the door. I make excuses like it's novelty. Waiting me for an apology.
It's fascinating. You're not the first artist I've talked to this year, like female artist, who has kind of stepped out of the electronic pop world into metal. Mm-hmm. This year is kind of like the ultimate vision for like what they want to do musically. So it's fascinating. Do you think there's something, I don't know, in the female experience, or just like trying to figure it out, where it's just like you feel pigeonholed or in a certain direction and you're just like, this is not actually what I want. I want to be over here?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting actually seeing that, because I feel like maybe what it is that women are starting to feel a little bit more comfortable and a bit more like represented in metal, and we're able to see ourselves in it because of like amazing bands that are like Spirit Box is one of my favorite bands ever, as it is for many, and Courtney is a huge inspiration for a lot of women to be confident but also to be authentic to themselves, because I think sometimes there's certain ways that women can approach metal, and I feel like the way that they do it, it feels very much like an art form, and I really appreciate that. So I feel like seeing that representation and feeling comfortable and like, welcomed in the community in that sense, like it was different, especially like from all the interviews I've seen with Courtney talking. It was different for her when she started in metal versus where we are at now, and I think that change is definitely helping amplify women's voices, and for us to be like, actually, I do see a future in this genre for myself. And I think that for me too, like, I think it was more, I wasn't thinking so much in that realm. Maybe that, I think that is like a social byproduct of where we're at, is what's making me feel more comfortable, like without me knowing. But I think like ultimately I've always wanted to migrate into the genre just because of how much room there is to tried different things. Like, I feel like you feel less constrained within metal as maybe you would with electronic music. At least that's how I felt, because you can kind of get a lot of different, like, you can be very emotional, you can still be very like synthy, but you can be like, there's a lot of different ways you can approach metal. And I feel like I was just starting to feel a little limited by just electronic music, and especially the live experience of it as well. And I knew I wanted to learn how to scream. It was just something that it would probably be a little bit more difficult to me, especially being a singer my whole life. I feel like my brain works a little bit differently, so I'm trying to like work through that. But yeah, I think right now is a good time. I feel like women are just feeling a bit more comfortable and welcomed into the scene. So thankfully,
and there's probably an element of like growing up too, and kind of having a better grasp on what you actually want, and just like
for sure,
know what you're going for.
Yeah, I think so too. And like all of my collaborations that I did, I love all the songs. Like I'm the sole songwriter on all the songs that I've collabed on, and that's like, songwriting is one of the most important parts for me with making music. And so I feel like all of those collaborations helped build me into where I am now. And it's helping me transition into the genre more comfortably, and also like, you just get more experience working with different things, and being able to try new stuff and realizing what works and what feels right and what doesn't. And I would still love to continue making electronic music and like collaborating with the right people, but definitely feel more at home in this genre. So.
Are there songs you've written or ideas expressed throughout the time of the band that like you play now and they still feel relevant, and you're just like, fuck, I wish we would have moved past this? Or are you just like, you kind of know, like, we're never going to get past this, and this is...
I mean, it's like all of them, like that's the plight of being a political band is if, things are technically getting worse in this country. I mean, so everything is still relevant. Trans rights, reproductive rights, songs about sexual assault, fascism, land back, the mass disappearing of women and girls in Juarez, Mexico, and other places. I mean, it just doesn't fucking end. And I'm even thinking of our song Anarcha, which is about a historical event, right? Of Anarcha was the name of an enslaved woman, a couple hundred years ago, that was experimented on by someone named Marion J. Sims, who is considered to be like the father of gynecology, modern gynecology. And he was only able to make any discoveries that now do help people because he experimented on these enslaved women, Anarcha being one of them. And, he's dead and gone. The benefits of his work remain. But the idea that people are expendable to other people, like, if you're a person in power, anyone that's not is expendable, and just a way to get to where you want to go, someone to step on your way to where you're going, like that hasn't gone away either. Especially with oligarchs and billionaires and conglomerates and corporations shutting down unions, and it feels very like we might as well be working in coal mines. Like, what fucking year is this? Like, it's crazy. So, I'm very ready. I definitely have a joke that I say probably too often of like, happy to end this band once the issues we sing about are no longer relevant. I would much rather trade actual, justice and equality, equity, healthcare, food, shelter, like a chance at a life. I would much rather trade the band to have all that.
And labor out a lesser impression. Ink fast, or taper off the dragging and crushing. Make your point and get on with it.
You guys have talked about Billy Talent. You've talked about Blink 182. I'm curious about other musical influences. Like when the first track kicks on, you hit the EP. It reminds me a lot of like their Only Chasing Safety era Under Oath. And then like, but it quickly devolves from there. Like that's not like what the EP sounds like. So what other things are you like drawing musical influence from?
It's so funny because a lot of people have brought up the Under Oath thing, which is so funny. I can't say I've really listened to Under Oath. Okay. So funny, but we've heard that a bunch, so it must be true because we have heard that a lot. But I think that the reason, and I have talked to like our producer about this and whatnot too, because he's brought it up too. And I think that the thing that happened is we listen to older music a lot, and I think that the people that influenced us are the same things that influence bands like Under Oath. So I think that's kind of how we all like ended up in a place that might become like similar at times, is because like, you know, for me, like my biggest bands are bands like The Cure. And so it's not like I'm so far from what we do, but there's still like a, you know, alternative, dark, like nice chords and whatnot. Yeah. But it's not like I'm listening to pop punk or emo all the time. Like that's the genre I listen to the least, if anything. Like it's the biggest thing away for me. I'm way more likely to listen to Depeche Mode or something like that. Like that's what I spend my time listening to. But we end up, I guess, in a similar place because of the influences we had growing up.
Yeah, so pretty much every influence you would think, like another band that I've heard lovely things, obviously, and I know that they're one of the coolest bands. But like I can't say I've ever heard a Pierce the Veil song, which is almost just insane getting to this point in our life and our genre without having heard. And it's not for like, you know, I don't like this genre or I don't like these bands. I just literally don't know these bands because in Montreal, like the circles that listen to these, because it's such a, like our high schools here, for example, our high school had 1,000 people in it, which from what I hear in the States is just like, it doesn't even exist. Like that's a home school has 1,000 people in the States.
That's probably an exaggeration. Where I live presently, yes, a high school of 1,000 people does not exist. But like where my wife grew up, there are high schools with way less people. So like
we're like really close to Montreal. We're like 20 minutes out of Montreal. We have like 1,000 people. So that's like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's more. Was like exactly. We're not in a tiny town.
Yeah.
If you're 20 minutes out of New York City, like there's no reason for there to be a school with 1,000 people.
Yeah. Fair.
Our biggest college here, which is the one that we both went to, I think has 9,000 or 10,000 people. That's the biggest one. Like a biggest one within hours. So before like Toronto,
finding similar people is a difficult thing to do in terms of like finding somebody who's, because if you have like a class of like 30 people, there might be one other person that listens to alternative music, right? So it's like if you make those numbers even smaller, the margins obviously become smaller.
Exactly. So just we didn't get to grow up in those circles, and it was sort of growing up with what was really out there at the time, like the more mainstream stuff, which was Blink, and then branching off of Blink, well, specifically self-titled Blink, which was our thing and still is our thing. And because it's their more post-hardcore side. I mean, the reason we have Relative is definitely because of that song Obvious by Blink, which is, it's not that it sounds alike, but it's the idea that like, oh, you can drop your tuning a little bit and still sound melodic. And that was kind of that, like, all right, cool, let's do that. So there's, post-hardcore Blink, which branched off into Boxcar Racer and Plus 44. And then Angels and Airwaves as well. Those were all the most formative bands for us. And they were all that sort of Mark and Tom verse. And from there, like Vinny said, then it was working backwards a lot to the older music like Depeche Mode and The Cure and
Which influenced bands like Blink a lot. You know, like Mark's favorite band is The Cure, and then Tom loves Depeche Mode. So it's like it's that thing where it's we're just influenced by the same people that they had. So it's
working our way up the family tree, essentially, like the influences of the influences and so on and so forth. And then beyond that, the other probably most formative thing that wasn't a band was just Danny Elfman scores for us growing up. Just those are all our favorite movies, or like all the Tim Burton movies, and just all the different ones too, because there's such a, even within that niche genre of, gothic Danny Elfman score, there's such a variety of these scores. Like if you look at Batman 89 versus Corpse Bride, like they're very, very different things.
Yeah.
And, so it was just listening to those over and over again.
And, I mean, we're quite nerdy, so it helps.
So the sort of like studying those as well as the bands we were enjoying at the time, that definitely brought us to where we are today. And when we were younger, because of where we live in the circles we were in, we didn't get to find a lot of the smaller bands at the time, but we're fortunate enough to do that now. So it's very cool because we'll have moments where we find, some of these bands that we find now, like, would be shocking to people, like, oh, you haven't heard them before. And to us, like, we were listening to a couple Block Party albums for the first time ever this year. So like these things, and I know they're a huge band, and we knew, a couple songs of theirs, but like, just when you're young, you don't necessarily have the ability to go, especially like here. Our record stores or CD stores when we were younger, but that was like Best Buy for us. Like it wasn't, go to your local store. Because HMVs stopped being a thing here when we were like 7 years old or something like that. Like they just went out of business here in Canada. We're fortunate enough to hear all these cool bands, sort of catch up on decades of cool bands, of some of the smaller bands too.
Sometimes we're meeting them in person for the first time too. And then you listen and you're like, oh, this is good too.
So that's really cool. Yeah.